Magic is simply the desire to augment reality or change reality as we perceive reality in accordance with our desires or our wishes. This idea is as old as humanity itself and has not changed from probably the Paleolithic to today. It is common in the West, it is common in the East, it is common all over the world. And the reason why is because magic actually works. Magic is a real force in the world and is only being quantified in terms of its authenticity by things like quantum physics, dark matter energy, and the various mysterious elements of the universe that we don't know a whole lot about. That's the difference between a magician or a person who works in magic and, say, a scientist, in that a scientist would be quite rightfully concerned with the process that brought the mechanism to its full conclusion. Someone who works in magic doesn't care about the intermediate stages. They're only interested in the process in terms of what begins it and how it's concluded. In other words, the commencement, the ritual and the result, and nothing else. What causes and changes reality as that intermediate force is irrelevant. Sri Lanka is an interesting case in that, similar to Christian countries, magic and sorcery and black magic is more likely to take place. In the case of the majority Sinhalese Buddhist population, magic represents the same lack of a spiritual darkness found in Christianity. So we would have the same impetus within Buddhism to work in magic and hexes that you get, say, in Christianity, and is manifested by something along the lines of Santeria or Santamurti cults. You have Christianity and Buddhism do not fully address the dark side of life, and that's where magic steps in. When prayer isn't enough, sorcery takes over. In Sri Lanka, magic and sorcery has actually only really begun to grow and reach almost epidemic levels within rural areas in the last century. Think about it as an antithesis to the growth in modern culture, technology and so on. Why is magic persevering and growing in Sri Lanka? Because it works. Cursing and hexing is very central to Sri Lankan life, particularly in rural areas. The main reason for this is that it gives a sense of psychological reinforcement where, say, things like an economic status or other aspects of life in terms of not producing the desired fulfillment is lacking, and therefore magic and sorcery is a method of bridging the gap. It would not remain as popular as it has done if it was not successful. Shamanism is still commonly practiced within Sri Lanka as a ritual known as the Raban drum, basically a form of shamanism to drive out evil spirits, whereby the necromancer, as they call them here, will play drums and dance to drive out a spirit.
The next day, it was time to visit a hex-breaking holy man at his home.
May I ask the request? The request is, I have X on me. Can you repel the X?
Many mugging Varadunum Gandhi, Mivalat Netamading me, Menara Duka Durukarandi, Vandurukari, many mugging Varade, Nomagandi, Mivalat Netamading me, Menara Duka Durukarandi, Mahakali, many mugging Varadunum Gandhi, Mival.
At this point, the change in atmosphere was palpable. In a true magical sense, the atmosphere was enhanced by the semi-darkness and the paraphernalia. The bell opens the magic ritual. The flame atop the coconut only burns for a limited time.
Badrekali meni maging varedenum gandhi mimal asnete vading ne menare duke duruke ranne nileka da dosati binama pute pravesamen दूरदर्शी आकर्षणानुभव बल पेटवा गंटे मलगिय प्राणकार बल पैमिन शरीरेट दोसरो असरणेट बागपतवल हतक देन पुते बड़ किन्नत असरणेट गांधी बोधि सेवने बोधि पूजा पवत्वा पिंग अनुमोदना वक्त पालने करगन पुते ඔබ ඒ අනුව කටයුතු කරන්න වෛද්‍ය උපදෙස් ලබාගෙන කටයුතු කිරීම යහපත් වෙනවා පුතේ එහෙම තබන පියවරේ ඉදිරි මඟ සපත කරගන්නට
What was really interesting about going into the Buddhist witch doctor's place of work was the raw intensity of it. It did not feel like I expected it was going to feel like. I kind of thought it would be more along the lines of a kind of a tarot reader that you get in the West, kind of a bit kitsch and a bit contrived in terms of creating an ambiance of magic, but it was nothing like that at all. It was completely different. What struck me the most was that you really felt this raw nature when you entered into this small room and got down on your knees in front of him and presented him a coconut, a banana leaf and some money. He rings the bell, he begins the chants, he begins the incantations, and you can feel the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. You can really feel that there's something happening here. A lot of this will be yourself who's generating this charge within yourself. This is the theatrics of magic, the ambience of magic, the performance of magic. And at the same time, whether it be Western magic, Eastern magic, shamanism, African, European, North American, whatever, the actual performance and the theatrics is an integral part of the effectiveness of the magical outcome, because this is what raises your consciousness to levels beyond that of the mundane.